Hi, I'm Joe Chambers. Welcome to Musicians Hall of Fame Backstage. This week is part 2 of James Pankow, founder, trombonist, songwriter, and arranger of the great group Chicago. If you've enjoyed them as much as I have for the past 50 years, you don't want to miss this.
That's when we decided we're going to be us. Screw these clubs. Do we roll the dice and be us and continue to get fired looking for work? Or do we play the game and just do us on the side for our own amusement? So we showed up at the attic. We went on stage with our suits inside out and our hair was long. We let our hair down. And the club owner's at the bar with all his cronies getting his butt kissed. We launch into when I won your love, you were everything to me. How could I be such a fool by Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention? And we carved it. And as we're doing this and getting outside with it, the club owner turns and looks at us like he wanted to kill us. He gets up off his bar stool, walks over to the stage. Mind you, the club is packed. He walks right up to the front of the stage and grabs Walt's pants leg. And he's doing this. And what he was saying is, Walt, you're all a bunch of you're fired. Get the hell out of my club. And I'm going, Walt, what did he say? What did he say? Well, I think we're fired. Walt gets on the mic and goes, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take a 10-minute break. Everybody chill out, relax, have a drink. You know, the more you drink, the better we sound. As he's saying this, Robert Lamb dives off the stage and grabs the club owner by the throat. The club owner grabs him. They're like this, heading across the front of the stage toward the dressing room. The people in the club are looking at this going, what the hell is this? What's going on? Walt goes, we're going to take a 10-minute break. We'll be right back. Hey, everything's cool. We'll be right back. Have a good time. We'll see you in a minute. We get off stage and go in the dressing room, and they're on the floor, literally trying to kill each other. We had to pull them apart. We pulled them apart. I mean, Robert's a big dude.
I didn't know that Robert was that bad.
Robert's a big guy. And we're all Chicago guys. We know how to take care of ourselves. We grew up that way in the neighborhoods. But Robert's a big man. He's 6'2.5". And, he had the club owner on the floor. Well, the club owner was not, the club owner was fighting for his life too. We separated him and wound up getting kicked out of the club. You'll never work, not only in this club again, but you'll never work anywhere again. You know, Joe, it seems like yesterday. And again, nobody wanted to hear what we had to say. They wanted to hear Top 40. Let's go somewhere where we have a shot at becoming a national act at exposure. So it's either New York or LA. LA makes the most sense because that's where all the studios are, and that's where the rock and roll records are being made.
Is this when Guercio came in?
Jimmy Guercio was, while he was a student, while he was at DePaul, was an amazingly good bass player. And he became a regular session guy at Chess Records, which was probably one of the bigger studios in Chicago. And he'd also be called for pickup dates as a bass player. Chad and Jeremy, the English carbon copy of Simon and Garfunkel, came to the States for a tour. And their bass player got pneumonia or something, got very ill, and had to go back to the UK, and Guercio got the call to play bass. He took the money he earned from that adventure and formed a production company in Los Angeles. Walt called Guercio and said, hey man, we got a group here that I think you might want to hear. We're doing some stuff that nobody else is doing, and I think you might be interested. He went, okay. So he and his manager flew to Chicago, Shula's Supper Club. Our opening act was a snake lady who had pythons. She was a belly dancer with pythons crawling on her. And Gershio showed up. Well, you know, we're playing the top 40, and if you've seen the movie Blues Brothers, where they're playing, you know, their blues stuff, and then the crowd starts throwing beer bottles, and well, Gershio shows up, and we start playing our original songs. Well, that happened. You know, they started throwing beers and chicken wings, and the cage came down, just like it did in the movie. It happened for real at this Shula's. Yeah, boo, boo. And it was surreal. But we had to play our stuff. We had to show Gershio what we had, who we were musically. And we survived. And next thing you know, Gershio said, just keep doing what you're doing. And figure in about 6 months, coming to LA, and we'll see if we can get something going, you know, in the LA scene. Basically put all our stuff in U-Haul trailers and drove to LA. Gershio had found a little house under the freeway in Hollywood, and it was a very bohemian neighborhood. There were a lot of musicians in the neighborhood. You know, you could always hear somebody jamming. You know, a regular in the neighborhood was Frank the Dope Man. You know, he'd be just like the milkman. You know, he'd be delivering his stuff, going house to house. And my bedroom had been the dining room, and I had to take the living room drapes and put them over the arch between the living room and the dining room to have some privacy. And then I had to put a nail in the door jamb of the swinging kitchen door coming into the dining room so I'd have a little bit of privacy. Terry's bedroom was one end of the living room, and the wall he made was with custom amplifier cabinets, speaker cabinets, blue vinyl custom cabinets was the wall of his bedroom. There was no lights in the house, lamps in the house to speak of. It was all Christmas lights and aluminum foil. That was the lighting in the house. It was great. And we'd rehearse in the living room of that house.
You just said it was great.
It was great.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
Great. I said great. It was great. It was fantastic. It was a musical community, 24/7. We were writing, playing, sitting with each other, creating ideas, parts of songs, lyrics. It was a symposium, a 24/7 musical experience.
You were oblivious then to the surroundings.
Pardon me?
You were oblivious to the surroundings. It was just the camaraderie and the music.
Oh yeah, you know, but I think we were all single, you know, 20 years old, you know, a bunch of young single musicians with a common goal, and Gershio had created an opportunity to let this happen. I mean, you know, rather than be annoyed that you know I slept in a dining room, it was on the contrary. It was amazing because if I got a song idea at 3 a.m, Terry was right outside the curtain. Hey Terry, check this out, and vice versa. The neighbors called the cops more times than I can remember, you know, for disturbing the peace. One time we invited the cops in and they listened, said, "You guys are really good. Hey, just keep it down, would you?" We became the cops' friends because they loved what we were doing. And in the course of this creation, this process, we got invited to be an opening act at the Whiskey A Go-Go. Mm-hmm. Albert King was scheduled to appear at the Whiskey, and they were looking for somebody to open for him. And Gershio's management called the Whiskey, said, "Hey, look, we got this group that's fresh out of Chicago. They're doing some groundbreaking, totally amazing things. They got a horn section, big sound, and they work cheap. You know, they're kids. And Elmer at the Whiskey said, okay, yeah, we'll give them a shot. And we pulled up to the Whiskey, and the marquee, we saw the marquee, and it said, Albert King, and below it, it said CTA in small letters. And Walton here goes, look, we're on the marquee of the Whiskey a Go-Go. This is awesome. And we're out there taking pictures of it like little kids. We got a gig in Hollywood. This is awesome. We became the house band at the Whiskey because we sold the joint out. The word of mouth got out, just like it did in the last place in Chicago that I didn't tell you about was called Barnaby's. And that was the one club in the entire Midwest that encouraged original music. That's where we also started calling ourselves CTA at Barnaby's in Chicago. The Whiskey a Go-Go was also a club in LA where if you were a big act performing in Los Angeles at the Forum or Stadium or wherever, if you had a night off, you'd go to the Whiskey to see, hey, what's going on in town? You know, to hear what the latest. And, you know, everybody would be in there one time or another. The Stones, The Who, you name it. They'd come in, you know, just check out the local town. Well, we were in the dressing room waiting to come back on stage for the next set. And as we turned to leave, there's a guy standing in the doorway, and it's Jimi Hendrix. And he looked at us, and he said, you guys have a horn section that sounds like one set of lungs and a guitar player that's better than me. You want to go on the road? Yeah. So we became Hendrix's opening act. That was exposure that you couldn't buy. That was, I mean, a national tour of stadium, of arenas, an arena tour. And
Probably a mutual admiration between him and Terry.
yeah, I'll tell you, but it was very strange. They were afraid of each other. They were not afraid, but intimidated by each other. And Jimmy was very shy. Terry was rather shy. They both hugely admired each other's playing and recognized each other's gifts, but were afraid to, you know, put it on the table and talk about it because they were uncomfortable for whatever reason. And they treated us like gold on the road. You know, we were four guys to a room at the Holiday Inn. They'd send the limos, and we'd go to their hotel. They'd be in the presidential suite. And, you know, Eric Barrett, the tour manager, hey, what do you want? Room service. Hey, let's have some steaks up here. Come on, some champagne. They treated us like royalty. They were so kind to us. We finally got to the point where Jimmy opened up and actually began to talk about doing a record together. I mean, Jimi Hendrix in Chicago. Please. And he and Terry began to talk about collaborations. And I got excited. I started, oh man, I can craft some bitchin' horns to this, you know. And Mitch Mitchell and Danny Serafin. I mean, oh my God, this could be on. And then he left us. And then he died. Yeah. He died. And that, what a waste, what a drag, what a shame.
I had read that he had talked about wanting to do some big band music.
Oh yeah, he loved the horns. Mm-hmm. He got it. Well, Mitch was a jazz drummer.
Yeah.
You know, they all came from that school.
Most of the great players from the Hal Blaine, all those guys were jazz drummers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Even here in Nashville.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the country guys.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Anyway, it never came to fruition because of Jimmy's early demise. But it reinforced that what we were doing was really great, because if Jimmy validated, if he gave it his stamp of approval, That was big. That was huge.
Okay, you know, when people pass and time goes by, they become bigger than life. Was he already? I mean, I loved him then, and just like I immediately loved you guys. But did you guys? I mean, was he? Did you know that he was going to be what he is still today at that time?
Yeah,
Or was he more of a
no, we had a sense of that. He was an icon when we were on the road with him. I mean, they'd finished their set. They had the limos right behind the stage in the arena. They'd finish their set, and there'd just be a Hendrix would take his guitar and just throw it into the bass drum, and there's a and when the smoke cleared, they were gone. They just jumped in the car and went out the back door. Jimi Hendrix has left the building. You know, the fans are still there. We want more. We want more. They're gone.
And that's kind of how he left life.
Well, yeah, he created, you know, when he showed up at the door of our dressing room, you know, Walt said, I quote, I thought he was going to turn me into a tab of acid or something. You know, he had this aura around his afro. And Walt looked at me and said, this guy is, he's psychedelic. He's going to turn me into a troll. You know? But he was.
Well, it did have a mystical appeal about him. You know, he did.
Very much so. Yeah. You know, you know, we were in the whiskey. Al Cooper, at the time, the Blues Project, and he used to come to the whiskey a lot. Well, we were there, and he heard us, and you know, he just, what is this? What do you get? I'm a new person. This is, and, you know, patted us on the back, you know, I love what you're doing here, you know. He got it, he's a total musician. And he was also a staff producer in New York, which was a real handy thing because he went back to New York and took a break from the Blues Project, handpicked first call session guys in Manhattan, and literally assembled Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Okay, I heard this band. I don't know if he taped us, but I heard this group at the Whiskey in L.A. And you know they're doing this and this. Let's see if we can do something like that. You know. You know, it's going to be a while before they get on a label. They're still bidding. You know, we can get in the studio this week. And Columbia released it, Child is Father Than Man. They beat us to the punch on record. Al realized when that album came out, you know, he got the first, you know, he beat us to the punch. But then when Chicago Transit Authority came out, he's going, when we went into the studio to do Chicago, the second album, Chicago Transit Authority was still in the top of the Hot 100. A year later, it had not gone anywhere. It was still the top 40. I mean, it was on the charts like 3 years. It just didn't go away. And it was word of mouth because we wouldn't get on radio. We released Question 67, 68, I'm a Man, and Beginnings as singles. Radio wouldn't touch it because they didn't understand it. What's this? I mean, does anybody really know what time it is? It was underground. That's not top 40. We don't even know what this is. Chicago comes out. I'm in the car on my way home. Album's been out for a month, maybe less, a couple of weeks. Unbeknownst to me, to any of the band members, I believe, the ballet, which is a multi-movement piece that I wrote, takes up almost the whole second side of the record. We didn't know about what edits were. Apparently, Columbia, Freddie Cotero went into the studio and edited Make Me Smile and Color My World out of the ballet. And I'm in my car on my way home, I'm down on Santa Monica Boulevard, and I hear, and this is Don Steele on KHJ, man. It's like the big station, you know. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, here we go with a new song from a new group or new artist called Chicago that is destined for #1. Make me smile, baby. Bum, 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 bum. And I'm going, that's us, we're on KHJ. And I'm looking around going, hey, we're on the radio. You know, people who look at me like I'm crazy, you know. That's when I realized we're gonna make it. We got our foot in the door, man. We're on KHJ. This is a hit.
Now, did Color My World come out after that?
After that, Color My World we released a double-sided hit. Beginnings, Color My World. Beginnings got most of the buzz, but Color My World, it was like the tortoise and the hare. It stayed there. You know, Beginnings did its thing and then slipped down. And Color My World it wasn't necessarily on the charts, but people kept buying this record because they wanted to dance to Color My World, or they fell in love to Color. It became.
I told you I met my wife.
Yes, it became the standard. As a songwriter, it's the ultimate validation when, you know, first of all, to have somebody, you know, embrace the song as a part of their life is one thing, but to embrace that song as an essential, as a memory that's as important as their wedding itself, as important as the birth of their child. That's how important that song is, it becomes. And for you to be told that by someone, can I please hug you? Because that song is everything to our life. That is the ultimate reward for any songwriter. And when you're sitting at that little piano and you're having a personal moment, little do you know that it is going to become that moment. I remember writing it on the road. I was between Holiday Inn beds with a little Wurlitzer electric piano, and I had been listening to Bach. And I was listening to the Brandenburg Concertos, which happened to be really amazing in terms of their structure. And as an arranger, composer, I was fascinated. How did he do that, you know? And I start messing around with arpeggios, you know, on this little keyboard. And I came up with this 12-bar round of major and dominant seventh chords, you know, started in F major and came back to F major. It worked really well. Okay, now, what about a melody? Okay, so I started messing with it. Da, 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 da. Simple, but flowing. I finished, you know, I sketched out this little melody, and I went to Walt's room, and I woke him up. Walt, wake up, I need you to play the flute. What? It's 3 in the morning. I'm trying to sleep. I said, I know, Walt, I know, I'm so sorry. But I gotta find out if this works. I gotta find out. Please, could you just try it? It's just a 12-bar melody. I need to hear the flute. Okay. So he gets out of bed, puts his flute together and comes over. He plays it, rehearses it. And I said, Walt, is that any good? He said, any good? It's gonna make me famous.
And he was right.
Yep.
We'll be right back after this, okay?
The Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum has been celebrating the men and women who make the music of our lives since 2006. The Musicians Hall of Fame is the one and only museum in the world that honors the talented musicians who played on the greatest recordings of all time.
It's a music city, huh? It's, I mean, where else are you going to get the cats, all the cats that are in this room?
The Grammy Museum Gallery at the Musicians Hall of Fame is an interactive facility that allows guests to explore the process of making a recording. Take drum lessons with Ringo Starr. Sing on stage with Ray Charles. Write a song with Desmond Child. Rap with Nelly. Or be Garth Brooks in our recording studio experience. Located in the heart of downtown Nashville, in the first floor of the historic Nashville Municipal Auditorium. Come see what you've heard at the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum.
The Cabaret is now open for a new season with shows all the way through 2019. Call now at 615-327-4630 or go online to raystevenscabaret.com. Come see me here at the Cabaret in Nashville in 2019.
Hi, I'm Tyler Rudesheim, Director of Events at the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum. Located within the historic Nashville Municipal Auditorium, the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum is one of the most unique spaces in downtown Nashville, offering a versatile environment that caters to events of all sizes. Your guests will love this truly Nashville experience. We specialize in corporate dinners, music industry events, receptions, and more. Contact me today to book your next event.
Welcome back to Musicians Hall of Fame Backstage with James Pankow. This is going to be, unfortunately for me, the final segment of a story that I've always wanted to know about. And I just want to say, I remember hearing 25 or 6 to 4 on the radio. And I'd like for you just to kind of just touch on that because so many people want to know what that's about.
25 or 6 to 4 is a song about writing a song. That's all it is.
Did Terry come up with the intro? Was that something
Robert created that line. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's become I think.
Don't you close every show?
Required lick for every new guitar player lesson, and that we've closed the show with that thing forever. It's become an anthem, if you will. But Robert was laying on the floor of his house in the Hollywood Hills, looking over the city of Los Angeles just before dawn. He had been up all night just writing, just finding, searching for a lead to something significant in his creative process. And he was so tired. He was just really, it was the wee small. And he looked at the clock and couldn't tell the minute hand from the second hand and didn't know if it was 25 minutes to 4 or 6 minutes to 4 in the morning.
And that was it.
And that was it. Feeling like I ought to sleep. Looking out at the lights of LA. It's a song about how he felt at that time, early in the wee small, writing lyrics. It's a song about writing a song.
You know how many people think, I've heard it's like taking do you want to take a hit of acid that lasts from 6 to 4 or 25?
Formula for LSD, odds to a horse race, there's been all kinds of.
And like most things, it's just that simple.
Yeah. People have overthought it all the time. Yeah, it's a song about writing a song, period.
Yeah. So James, thank you so much for doing this for me. It's
my pleasure.
I've been wanting to do it for a long, long time, and I've learned stuff I had no idea. So thank you for taking time. I know you got to hit the road.
Well, yeah, I'm busy saddling up for the next tour, but we talked at the Ascend Amphitheater. You know the music, and I couldn't think of anybody I'd rather speak to, and it was an honor to be on your show.
Well, thank you so much. And see you next time.